You are watching Life on Gabriola TV, community television, for you, by you.
Ay panata bagway. RCM Nisyeya, ECM Nisohwain, ECM Nishmalaqua, Aikwanasilam Nala, Empapat Satasia, Tracy White Tanas Quinitang Ok Nasquish, Tan Itsan Ak Snuneymuxw, Inquamluch Ak Upachasit. Welcome to 1491. Can you reimagine Thanksgiving? I first would like to say, on behalf of the Snuneymuxw First Nation, I am a member of the Snuneymuxw First Nation. On behalf of the Chief and Council, I would like to welcome everyone to this territory, and I'd also like to acknowledge the village of Talela, which was one of our main villages, and here on Gabriola. And I'd also like to, at the same time, acknowledge and say Haitsapka to the Snuneymuxw First Nation for allowing us to gather in this territory today and to be together. This is a really exciting event. I'm here with my colleagues, Dave Mott and Tamara McCarthy, and we're a team. We're going to talk a little bit later about our Messages on Doors work that we've done for this evening. But to begin with, I would like, actually before I start talking about 1491, I just want to say a few thank yous. I want to say Haitsapka to and acknowledge the Department of Canadian Heritage for their support of the Breaking Bannock program for the Gabriola Arts Council. I'd also like to say Haitsapka. My hands are raised to for tonight's halibut fish donation by actually my parents, Doug and Joyce White, and also my cousin, sister, Nancy Seward. And I'd also like to say Haitsapka for the support of the Gabriola Arts Council, President Ann Poshman, and the Board of Directors, without whose support this work wouldn't be possible. My hands are raised to you all. Haitsapka, thank you. And I think we have a couple more acknowledgements for thank yous.
Yeah, on behalf of the Fox Queen, we'd also like to thank the Gabriola Arts Council for having us presented here today, but also a couple of really important partners of ours, Up in the Air Theater and PCSC, which is Pacific Coast Stage Co. We couldn't have done it without their support. They've actually brought in some in-kind support in the form of some tech, and we really appreciate their marketing too. So thank you, and Haitsipka.
Hi, Dave. So tonight's event, the first part is I'd like to just talk very briefly about the title, 1491, Can You Reimagine Thanksgiving? Actually, before I do this, I would just like to do a quick housekeeping. As soon as we're finished here, and as soon as I do a blessing of our dinner in Hulkaminum, we're going to have dinner, and we're going to feast together, because it's really important in my culture, in my culture, that we eat together, that we sit down, and that in my teachings, when you're eating food and you're together and there's teachings, that food will help you remember. That's a really important thing. So we're going to eat together and feast together. And then after that, we're going to have our artist presentations. So we'll come up around dessert time and talk about the Messages on Doors aspect of this evening. So in the meantime, I just wanted to talk very briefly about this title, 1491, Can You Reimagine Thanksgiving? This is a huge idea. It's a challenge to each one of us. To critically think about life in the Americas, and specifically the Coast Salish territory that we live in. Prior to colonization and afterwards, the population in the Americas has been estimated to be between 50 and 100 million people, which is huge numbers. Life was very different. And since this idea also about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving has always been, I think, muddled with myths. And it's always been thought of as a celebration, I think, since we were children. And it is a great time to get to gather together and the harvest time of year. But this myth of Indigenous people sitting down with pilgrims and having a grand old time is really one that I think we need to think about critically. In fact, at that time, when the Wampanoag Nation at Plymouth Rock was a time of massacres and disease and colonial land expansions. So today the Wampanoags remember the pilgrims' entry to their homeland is a day of deep mourning, and it's a moment. It's not a moment of giving thanks. So I think that when we think about the catastrophic changes that these centuries of colonization and attempted forced assimilation have had on the devastating impacts on Indigenous people's lives in every way, including culture, language, systems of governance, and the environment. And while those losses have had intergenerational trauma and impacts, we also have the spirit of resilience of Indigenous people, and the spirit and triumph of the will has been stronger than all of those things, and that we're still here. It's really a huge miracle. Let me see. So today I want us to think about Thanksgiving as a challenge, to think about when I say, can you reimagine Thanksgiving? Can we use this as an opportunity to walk together and towards reconciliation, towards a new start? And I think that the spirit of reconciliation and the whole, like the idea of being together and being thankful and grateful for the land, especially that we live on, and the resources that keep us sustained is really important. So that's a little bit about what we were thinking about when we called this event. Those huge ideas. Those are really big ideas. So in the meantime, so we can get to the good stuff for dinner, I just want to say a quick blessing of the food, which is Shachant Tasashtan in Hulkaminam. Sitzel Siam, Thichwam Kwanzia Salachanstuch, Ta Ait Sashtanst, Ita Kakas Tat Sa Atanaquel, Ait Squel, Amastal Aquatha Quam Squelowin, Quis Huyaks Tashquelowinst, Slotlamsta. So Heitzapka Siam. Enjoy dinner.
One of the primary objectives of Breaking Bannock is to make sure that people have a safe place to interact, to ask the question they might not necessarily have felt comfortable with. And doing that over food is a critical way of securing that level of comfort. And that's what we're doing here today.
Mm-hmm. And Breaking Bannock is about building relationships. We literally break Bannock, breaking bread together. And this evening is about, we have artist Talela Manson from the Snuneymuxw First Nation sharing her art with us this evening. We have Chef Amanda Seward and her helper Felicia Dennis cooking dinner tonight. My parents donated the fish. So it's about bringing people together and sitting down and eating a meal together, feasting together, and learning from one another.
And that's how you build relationship, by sharing. And one of the things, I'm glad Satasia mentioned it, one of the things that I find really exciting is the idea of sharing food, because it's something that's significant in our culture, and it's something that I think is quite natural certainly for our culture, but also for all kinds of other cultures. And what I would like to see is us to expand on that facet of the work that we do, because sharing food is essential to building bridges. And so for the future, I'm really excited about that idea.
Good evening, everyone. We're just going to start by sharing a little bit about what Messages on Doors, the Messages on Doors component of this evening is. Messages on Doors is 4 years old now? Yeah, 4? Yeah, 4 years old. We are a team together, the three of us, from Fox Queen Productions. And we started Messages on Doors during the pandemic. And Tamara will share some of the big ideas and the values of the way we work together. But Messages on Doors came out of the pandemic, and one of the big things was that we needed to connect more, you know, how isolated we all were during that time. But so the first one was in the Snuneymuxw First Nation, and then we went to Upachesset in Port Alberni in the Nichanoth territory, and then we went to Cowichan, the Cowichan Nation, and then just a couple weeks ago, Dave and Tamara were in Port Hardy with Messages on Doors there as well. And tonight we're just so happy and pleased to be a part of this community. Messages on Doors is, we did a workshop with community participants, and there are some of you who participated during our Zoom workshop, and we're so happy to see you and that you're here again this evening. So Messages on Doors is about connecting more, but it's also about turning around the historical, like if we think of a doorway, an entryway, especially for a business, and historically, my people were not welcome to many businesses. There were hateful messages, you know, no Indians allowed, Indians sit at the back in movie theaters. People had to have passes to go into town from the reserve, and it's just wild to me that this wasn't so long ago. So one of our things is that we really see it as a responsibility to turn those hateful messages around and turn them to messages of love. And so Tamara, if you could share as well, thank you.
Satasia summed that up really well. As Satasia mentioned, we did a Zoom workshop, so part of Messages on Doors has an online component so that folks can access this workshop that may not be able to in person. So we begin online, and this version tonight we're calling it abridged because it was a much shorter timeline, but usually we work with core artists and community participants over 3 months, and they create sparks, which are responses to the big ideas. I just want to see a show of hands who participated as community members on our workshop. Yay! All right. A lot of people over here. So thank you so much for joining us. I know it was a bit of a leap into not knowing what to expect. So one of the things we do is we send and we often mail these gift boxes, which have lots of goodies inside. And Satasia, you will have to say our word for gift box because it's very hard for me to make my lips that way. Can you say it? We're still learning it.
You were doing such a good job earlier. It's Shuain Chatham. Shuain Chatham.
Yeah,
and that means Shuain is a gift that you bring. We have many words for gifts, but one is that you bring to your relatives in another village. And Chatham, it means box. So it's literally like that gift that you bring your relatives to another village box.
Okay, HK. So there's some gifts in here, like some ingredients to make bannock and some honey and jam, and sometimes we have tea in here. We have some rocks that we paint, and we have something called a cedar branch. Yes, the cedar is highly important to this gift box. And then we have something called a heart map. And I just wanted to share Nicole's with her permission. Nicole took the heart map that was in the box and created, and it might be hard to see from there, but created this incredible message on a door and incorporated pretty much everything that was in the gift box. You can't really see, but there's cedar from the box like glued on this. So that was thanks Nicole for sharing that. Nicole's over there. I know you worked very hard on this and it shows. So yeah, Messages on Doors is based on two big ideas. The first is that we are responsible to take action against the dark messages, past and present, dark messages of hate towards Indigenous peoples. And I'm going to pass it on to Dave to talk about the second big idea and the values of the Fox Queen.
So the project did come out of COVID and those times when we were feeling so isolated and unable to connect. And the second one of our big ideas has transformed over time. It is now, in these times of reconciliation, we need to connect more. And that, we feel, is encapsulating what is needed in reconciliation. It's about connection. The Fox Queen has some core values, and they are really what fuel our work and what we hope will bind us. And they are love, truth, listening, survival, and joy. We also really like song, and we like to connect, but that's really the fundamental parts of our project, of the three of us, and what we try to bring to communities. The project came out of a really bizarre thing, and I like to tell this story because it was COVID, and we all remember what it was like. It was frightening, and we were having trouble connecting to people. So we went out of our way to do things, and we did things that we had not done before. Not just staying inside, but I was outside my house, and I saw this woman, and she had like a little box of cookies. And she placed it down in front of the door, and she rang the doorbell and spoke over the intercom. And she was like, "I can't stay, but it's here." And I thought, what is this? You know, what is going on here? What is happening to us that we have to send these gifts to connect to people? And I took the idea to Tamara, and Tamara saw that it was a bigger idea than I had seen. And then we were connected with Cetacia, and then that's how we came together. And that's how Messages on Doors was born. We couldn't have known actually what it would be. So we're really proud to be here today from that. The gift box, I also want to say it was inspired by a colonial tool, which was a ration box. And that's why Cetacia has renamed it. And I think this is really important because this is a new development as well. We were calling it a ration box because we were making a reference to what was going on with how the colonial structures were bringing things and actually changing the society of Indigenous peoples. But we want to move on. We want to move into action. We want to change it. So now it's this gift that you bring to your relatives or from one place to another. I think that's also really significant, and I appreciate that change a lot, Cetacia. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to speak about it? Yeah, it's your relations.
Okay. I'll just speak briefly about our logo. If you see, it's been around here on your table in stickers and postcards that we hope that you take home. And our logo is designed by my nephew, my T1, Colossalton, Elliot Whitehill. Elliot was inspired by, we were again talking about the times of COVID, and do you remember everyone was putting hearts on doors and windows, and that was such a beautiful way to express our love for each other and for neighbors. So he was inspired by that, but he also was inspired by the tragedy and comedy, the traditional mask. So you can see the smile, the comedy smile in the logo, and then the top part of the bottom part of the logo, is it called an argon? Trigon. And that's a traditional Coast Salish design. So Elliot Whitehill, he actually has an exhibit right now. He just opened last night at the Nanaimo Art Gallery. It's called Snuneymuxw, and it's an exhibit, co-exhibit, or co-artist is Michelle Sound, who is Cree, and it'll be on until January 12th. They have an artist talk tomorrow as well, so we're just really, 2 p.m. So we wanted to share that about our logo.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to move into the core artist presentations. We have 3 of them this evening. And Cetacia will introduce our first artist.
Yes, so at every part of Messages on Doors is we have our community participants who work through with the workshop with us, but we also commission artists to be a part of the workshops and so they are there, they participated in our workshops, and then we hope that, that they're inspired by what they hear and see during the workshop, and then they go away and they create what we call a spark. And we don't expect completed works. We think that whatever it is that they come up with is fantastic, So that's a really big part of Messages on Doors as well, is that we call them sparks. So tonight, I'm just going to fix this. I would like to introduce Talela Manson, who is a proud member of the Snuneymuxw First Nation. Talela is returning to Messages on Doors as a core artist. They first participated in the first Messages on Doors in the Snuneymuxw First Nation as a community participant. So we're thrilled that Talela is joining us this evening as a core artist. They are a passionate soccer enthusiast, and also Talela is an actor and a writer, and they've left an indelible mark as a peer mentor for Indigenous youth. I'm just going to read. Someone wrote the best bio on you, Talela, and we don't know who it is, but I'm gonna read a bit of this. Their impact resonates through genuine care and empathy, extending beyond academic guidance to preserve cultural identity and nurture a profound sense of belonging. Their transformative journey from a camp participant to a camp counselor at VIU's Thaitshanam to Smanam exemplifies their commitment to mentorship and inclusivity. Having overcome the historical fear of education in their family, Talela is now a university student and navigates academia. Sorry, this just collapsed. How did that collapse?
Gotta scroll down.
Will it?
It's this new feature on the iPhone.
Oh yeah,
Scroll down.
that's annoying.
Scroll down, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So having overcome the historical fear of education in their family, Talela, now a university student, navigates academia while becoming a guiding light for others. Their journey from fearing post-secondary education to trailblazing in their family exemplifies resilience and determination, breaking the cycle of uncertainty surrounding education in Indigenous communities. Talela's legacy extends beyond personal achievements, is the echo of their voice resonating forever in the hearts of their people and beyond. So please welcome Talela Manson, Chalsit Tanat.
Asiam Seya, Siam Chomach Mistimach, Hate Sepka, Quants Alipska Keep, Atanaquel, Wheel, Sate Watinch Gwalowin, Antha Chalsimul Tanat, Tanitsana Snuneymuxw, Antha Tamana As Kekiak E, the late Tiana White. Following my traditional protocol, my name is Chalsimul Tanat. My birth name is Talela Manson. I am the daughter of Skakiak and the late Tiana White. I wanted to share a story tonight that comes from the Snuneymuxw Mistimach. It's about a powerful creator, a mythos that we believe in Snuneymuxw. In Snuneymuxw, we believe that we came from the sky, and so did neighboring villages. So there was a lot of argument among these villages of who were the first peoples to be in the lands that we are today. So this powerful creator, who we call Chalts, came in. He was a powerful transformer. He was able to transform people into cedar trees, rocks into people. So he was one of the powerful people that we believed in. So one of the stories that go along with him is he was helping this couple that were always arguing, that couldn't stop arguing. So he turned them into two mountains, one that lives on Vancouver Island today and one that lives on the mainland. And they'd always face each other but never be able to communicate. So that was the being that we believed in, that was able to help and heal and teach lessons. One of the stories that we believe in that connects us to Kwatlo, dog salmon, comes from another young couple that were living at the mouth of the river in an estuary. And they were getting ready to move into the longhouses for the winter. So the husband was going out on his canoe trying to get salmon to get ready for the winter. So he'd go out every day, go try and get some salmon, come back. One of the days that he went out, he didn't return. So his wife would go down to the beach every day, crying, mourning. So her father went up to Halt, asked him to help my daughter, help her stop mourning, because she cannot go on like this anymore. So Halt went down to the beach where she sat every day crying, mourning for her late husband. And the only thing that he knew he could do was turn her into Kwatlo, so her spirit can live with him in the water. So when Halt went back to that father, he was angry. He said, I told you to go help my daughter, to go save her, and now I no longer have no daughter. So he was mourning. He went out onto the canoe every day to try and find a connection with his daughter. And in Snuneymuxw, we believe all of our songs come from our cries. That crying will bring out a song in you. So one of the days that he went out onto the canoe, he started crying, and he brought out this song. Oh, 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 hey, oh, 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 hey, oh, 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 hey. So with that song, the spirit of his daughter came from the water to reassure him. She said, don't mourn me. Don't be sad that I am gone. I am happy where I am. I am with my husband. Honor me in another way. So with that, he went back to the village, got someone that was able to put pictures in rocks to make a petroglyph. He wanted to honor that connection that he now had with dog salmon, Kwatlo. So he got him to create a petroglyph that still is up near the Snuneymuxw village site to this day. So if you ever do want to go look at that petroglyph, you can see the honor that Snuneymuxw people had for dog salmon. I just wanted to connect that to you to allow you to understand the connection that we do have to our food that we eat, to understand that they made a great sacrifice to be on our plates, to be able to sustain us further, to honor where your food comes from. And that's something I still am learning to do and continue to want to advocate for, to understand where your food comes from, but to go beyond that and honor your connection to that food. Because it's so easy to be disconnected to where your food comes from. So I just want to say, when we get closer to Thanksgiving and we're able to share a meal with your families, you can also understand that the connection that you have on that table is also a connection to your family, such as Kwatlo is to Snuneymuxw people today. Haitsepka.